My name is Agnieszka Z. On a daily basis, I work at Capgemini as a tester. I am the leader of the test automation team in a project for public sector client from Germany. Privately, however, I am a mother of 2 boys who love Lego and help me prepare for this presentation, which you will see in a moment. At the beginning of my professional career, I worked as a manual tester. But I quickly realized that automation is a way to make my work easier. So I started writing automated tests. Then I noticed that the next natural step in optimizing working time, accelerating the achievement of results, is to maintain order in the framework, its structure, and in the test code itself. Today, I want to present some life hacks that I hope help you not to waste time and focus on what is really important. So let's begin. As the first thing, I would like to recommend the use of precomit hooks. They allows you to automatically check the conditions what we consider important and useful in our project. For example, precomit hooks from the tidy library and autoformatter that organized the robot framework code. This is especially needed in a project where many automation testers work on it. It allows you to eliminate the manuals in writing by individual people. It standardizes the code by keeping it consistent. Configuring precomit hooks took only a moment, but the benefits of using them cannot be overestimated. I think that the most people here are familiar with the problem of low and even medium priority bugs, which are not fixed right away because they are not a big problem for the application. They are stuck in the application and spoil the automated tests. I have to admit that it was a problem in almost every one of my projects. Together with the teams, we tried to deal with it in different ways. We kept separate sheet in Excel, where we wrote down the IDs of tests that failed and the corresponding IDs of bugs. Every morning, when analyzing the nightly regression result, we compared our Excel sheet with the state from the report. We waste the time each morning. So we came to the conclusion that we need a tool that will show us directly in the report which test failed due to known bugs. It turned out that in Robot Framework, dealing with this problem is quite easy. This required writing a short Python code and using a keyword that already provides Robot Framework in its building library. And so the keyword check known bugs was created. It's triggered at the end of the test in teardown section. It checks whether the test contains a bug that is on the list of known bugs. This list is a text file which testers need to keep up to date. It's located in the automation test repository. If a bug is on the list, the setTestMessage keyword from the built-in library is run and prints bug ID in the report and a link to it to the tool where bugs are reported, for example to Jira. I wanted to tell you about one of the default feature functionalities that we didn't want to in the project. One morning, while checking the result of the regression test report, we were disturbed by the huge amount of screenshots that were archived by the CI/CD job. We wondered what happened in the application. There were over 600 screenshots, where the number of tests was around 100 and the number of failing tests was not high. It didn't exceed 10%. After the investigation, it turned out that Robot Framework took screenshot in a loop after each failed iteration, which generate a large amount of archived screenshots that had information value for us. The solution turned out to be simple in the robot framework. We added at the beginning of the loop keyword, register keyword to run on failure with argument none. That turns off the screenshots. And finally, keyword register keyword to run on failure with argument capture page screenshot after the loop. That turns on the making screenshots back again. This saved us time for unnecessary screens investigation and space on the server disk as well. To gain time, you need to invite others to do some things without your help. The entire team, not just the tester, is responsible for the quality of the delivered software. So it is good that the configuration of the test environment also reflects these ideas. A good example is the CI/CD utility. Thanks to the use of tags from the robot framework, when running tests in a job, developers and manual testers can run any part of the tests grouped by tags, so that each has a software quality control tool. It is not the responsibility only of the automation tester team. This helps to engage developers and manual testers to use automated tests, which in the long run will make them feel co-responsible for them. Another advantage is the ability to run once written tests in different environments. Imagine a situation where a developer wants to check if a feature he has just developed hasn't broken anything else. He can easily run automated regression tests or a selected part of them based on tag on his development environment and detect inconsistencies at a very early stage before it reaches a common integration environment. The next topic is Locator. Locators as a very important element in UI automation. The traverse over the DOM tree is the everyday lives of UI automation tester. Well-written locators make your test stable. They don't need to be patched on UI changes. So avoid using flaky locators. Use that are not durable. Use reliable locators such as ID or name. And keep developers adding them. Or you add them yourself to the application code. However, using the copy XPath option or some similar tools is a very bad practice and leads in the long run to a situation where the tester, instead of reading new scripts, corrects the locators. You will save time for corrections of constantly changing unstable locators. The next thing is to build custom keywords. The general rules is that one keyword should do one thing and use only the necessary numbers of parameters. The single responsibility principle. Often, however, the keyword is not too long at first, but over the time it grows, taking an additional responsibilities. This is a problem when tests want to call keyword to do one thing, but ultimately it will also do many other things. Maintaining such a keyword will also be a challenge. Of course, sometimes a more complex keyword is needed, but we build it by nesting the simple keywords, like building blocks. Let's consider the case where a document must go through a three-stage verification process, where a login user with specific permissions can check and approve or reject the document and pass it on the next person for the next verification stage. By creating one keyword for the whole process, we get a non-reusable and larger redundant method. To optimize this keyword, we divide it into smaller part of responsibility. Each stage of verification is a separate keyword, and it built from specific methods of the website or a smaller part of the business cases. In the case of test automation, it's especially easy to get duplicates. Steps such as login and navigating common areas of the application are a natural part of most scenarios. Repeating the same logic over and over again in different places is the enemy of our time. If your application changes in this area, you will need to find all the places where this logic is duplicate in your test code and update them. To overcome this problem, separate the common code into their own methods, keywords. This way, the code existing only in one place. It can be easily used and updated as needed. Often, in such cases, keywords are extracted in the robot framework, basic ones often used in tests, such as wait and click, wait and input, scroll up, execute database, and so on, to common files like common browser resources or common DB resources. Grouping of keywords, locators in page, this obviously makes it easy to maintain your automation project. But page object pattern is not always the only right solution. It also has some disadvantages. When testing the UI, the architects of automation frameworks quite commonly use the page object pattern to model the test system. It is widely used because it's intuitive and easy to implement it. But it doesn't take into account business cases. This is a problem when we want to enrich our UI tests with lower API tests. To be honest, I use page object pattern, but as an additional support. I don't hold it too tight. When creating a Python library, whether based on function or classes, it is important that auxiliary functions methods are marked with the @non-keyword decorator. Thanks to this, we will not clutter the library with unnecessary keyword to which we don't want to refer directly. Remember to use easy to understand name of keywords, variables, libraries. Use understandable name instead of comments. Name should indicate what, not how. For example, variable count doesn't say much what is stored in it. But when we change the name to, for example, rows count, it becomes clear what does the value represents. Avoid the hard-coded value in the code. First of all, hard-coded value makes the code less flexible, and there is a problem of searching through the code to adjust the value. Robot Framework has the variable section, so when using variables, you can have all of them there, or in a YAML file. Either way, you have them all in one place. The other aspect is that a hard-coded value often doesn't indicate what it means. But good variable names takes care of it. Assertions are a heart of each test. They confirm whether a set of test steps lead to the expected state of the application. And that's the point of the matter. Assertions should be in the test, not in the keyword. When a keyword contains an assertion, it leads at least two problems. First, the keyword became less universal. When we want to use it in a different context, the assertion may not be met and the test will not pass. The passed or failed assessment of the application state should be triggered already in the test itself. Keywords without asserts are more universal. They can be used in a different context. The second issue is the readability of the test. When the assertion is hidden in the keyword, reading the test code, you can't see what and as I said at the beginning, assertion is the essence of the test. It is worth to see it at first look while reading the tests. The test code itself should be readable. The keyword called in the test should focus on their responsibility and nothing else. Automated code moves much faster than we humans do. In a UI application, when a button is clicked, the application under test may need time to process the action, while the test code is ready for the next step. So you need to add passes or waits to your test code. However, adding a hard-coded wait time that tells the test script to wait for X seconds is not a good practice. This slows down the overall test execution time. In the case of a large set of tests, it saves a lot of time. To remove this code smell, consider using conditional wait technique. Many browser automation libraries, such as Selenium WebDriver, has methods to provide reasonable ways to wait for certain conditions to occur before proceeding the execution. Wait until element is visible, enable, and so on. Robot Framework gives the possibilities to use built-in keyword wait until element succeeds. Such techniques only wait so long as needed, nothing more or less. I will end at this, but I am sure that I haven't exhausted this topic, because the possibilities of optimizing the test framework, improvements in the work of the automation tester are almost infinite. And what life hacks do you use in your work?
So, hello, Agnieszka.
Yeah, hi. Hi.
Great presentation. I really loved your remark on focusing on the readability of the test code. It's so
Thank
often
you.
overlooked, and I think I
Yeah.
made a point of it in my presentation as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is also my observation. Yeah, before I start answering the question, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to have a talk at the first Robot Framework conference in Wrocław. I hope the initiative will grow, and I can't wait the second edition.
Great to have you here. Thank you. So we have a couple of questions. So first of all, there were several mentions of precomit hooks. Do you and your team use some sort of software to manage them, or are they implemented in Git directly?
We don't use any special software, just the precomit application from precomit.com. And I recommended starting from tidy and other auto formatter, like, for example, Black for Python, and getting used to precommits. We decided to use precomit locally in ID and not in pipeline, because we would like to have more control and see what is changed by precomit hooks.
All right. I know this approach. It's very useful.
Yeah, exactly.
My personal question, you got me intrigued by the knownbox report. What's more specifically in the text file that you maintain? I understand there's a Jira ticket, but what exactly do you use to figure out that this failure is a known bug?
Yeah, so this is what I especially like in Robot Framework. You can make powerful things into quite a simple way. So in text file, we have the test name and the Jira ID of the bugs. Only these two columns of value and keyword written in Python. It checks if current running test name is in the file. If yes, it creates a link to Jira based on bug ID.
Okay. 2 more questions to go. So do you have any life hacks for cleaning up the Lego blocks?
Yeah, this is especially difficult, but don't walk barefoot into the children's room.
Oh, that must be painful. Okay, and what's next in line for cleanup for your team? So what do you plan to eliminate next for the mess in your repository?
So we plan to implement the naming convention for keywords and variables. Our goal is to have keywords that sound like natural sentence, understandable for business stakeholders. I noticed that it's hard to write tests that doesn't sound like a script language. The test automation engineer have more technical point of view and don't think really about readability of code, and they leave in test helper keywords like wait or click or even SQL queries, which should be hidden. And it will save our time when BAs, managers, or other non-technical person involved will understand what does test do without our support. So yeah,
Okay.
that is
I
our goal
understand.
for the next future.
We don't have any more questions. Thank you again, and see you around, hopefully at the next Wrobocon.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you. Bye.
And right now in our schedule, we have a long block dedicated to networking. So I wanted to remind everyone that on the left side of your screen, you will find two hands shaking each other. And there you can find the button for speed networking, which will connect you to randomly chosen person that also clicked speed networking. And I would like to invite you all to use this feature. I'm quite curious how it goes. There is a time limit for this type of networking, so you will spend at most 3 minutes with each other. Use this time wisely to get connection to each other, exchange some professional profiles, and hopefully this will grow your personal knowledge network, and all will have the opportunity to become richer by this method. From my side, this is nearly all, but I will come back to the stage in approximately 23 minutes to give the closing statement. And for now, I thank you all. I